Welcome to January, the garbage dump of movies. As you can see, we started out 2019, and well, I call it the garbage dump of movies because, well, normally in January we get to come across with technically lackluster movies in terms of effort and whatsoever. And I've started to believe that ever since I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D a few years ago. And at this point, every first week of January films is technically gonna be a bad movie, a lackluster movie, a horrible movie. And well, the one that I saw this time is no exception. Although there is some things that I can say about this one. As you can see, the movie that I just saw is none other than Escape Room. I remember that when I saw the trailer, I felt that it kind of was interesting. It was technically kind of like an alternate version of another movie that I actually really like, and that is none other than Cube, which is technically a group of people trapped in somewhere and they must get away before or they're gonna die. But when the release date came out saying January, I was like, oh no. But despite that, I decided to give it a chance, and well, as you can see, I just came out of it. So basically, Escape Room takes the opportunity of taking a theme of, all these attractions where you go to, are also called escape rooms, where you go with a group of people, you are in a locked room, and they give you a time limit to solve puzzles around a room, so you can well escape. I've never been into one of those, but I know what are these about. I kind of think that I might fail in many of those because, while I love puzzles, but I'm not a exact genius on doing puzzles. So, okay, let's continue on with the movie. The movie, it has that basic story. It has 6 people who are invited to some kind of building, and then they are assigned to solve a puzzle in an escape room. But little that they know is that, 1, they cannot escape, and 2, they must solve all the riddles of a series of rooms, or else they're gonna die, well, miserably. And little that they know also is that there is something connecting to them. There is something that they have in common. Sorry, is that when I say this, it kind of boils something ridiculous that comes in the movie. So basically what I'm saying is that for a January movie, Escape Room wasn't exactly terrible. It started out decent, but somehow during the road, it got drunk, and it got crazy. Now, it has January-itis. It has the perfect recipe to make it become a very, very bland movie. But in this case, it made something that it was wildly unexpected, but unexpected in the wrong levels. And it's time for me to tell you about it. Let's start off with talking about what we have the characters. The characters usually concentrate on, first of all, this woman. What was her name? I got my IMDb here because I'm forgetful. Her name is Zoe. She's played by Taylor Russell, who she's a very shy girl, very smart, but she can't speak up her mind. The teacher tells her that she must confront some of her fears and all this stuff. She's shut in, and well, she receives the invitation to this escape room in a black box. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that that invitation also tells them that if they manage to win, they have the chance to win. I think it was $10,000. There was. We also see this guy who is a CEO. This guy who was played by what was the name of the actor? Jay Ellis. Yeah, Jay Ellis. He he's kind of like this rich, charismatic CEO working in a building in Chicago, Illinois. He receives the invitation, and we also get to see. Well, I don't know if he's technically the stoner, but if well, let's say that he's kind of like the runt of the group. He's a guy who is down in his luck. He's very pessimistic. He's a guy played by Logan Miller. He's a guy down his luck, works in a grocery store. He's very pessimistic, and well, he receives the invitation, and then when they go to the escape room, they find a woman played by Deborah Ann Wool, who is a war veteran. There's also this truck guy played by Tyler Labine, and a Hindi gamer. A Hindi gamer, what was his name played by Nick Donani. Oh man, I got issues to talk about this guy, the gamer guy. In spectrums of characters, none of them I will say that are exceptionally remarkable. They're not exactly unlikable, I also would say. They do have a little bit of a middle ground in it. Our main character, whose name is Zoe, she's introverted. The pessimistic guy named Ben, he's technically pessimistic. He doesn't try to get along with everyone because he's kind of down on his luck. There is this the other guy, the CEO. He's charismatic. The other one has the veteran is kind of rough on her edges. The other guy I think he was a truck driver who is a truck driver. I don't understand. I didn't hear well if he was, but he's the oldest guy. The oldest guy, he kind of tries to be the straight man, the voice of reason. Oh, but the gamer. In a way, I kind of think that he was kind of like the most out of place character in this one, because he's the guy who kind of says that, yeah, I'm a gamer, I went to many escape rooms, and they're a lot of fun, I love it, and yeah, he kind of begins to brag that he knows everything, and when things happen, he's like, yeah, we're gonna do it. The game is started. And so technically, he was kind of like a mini SpongeBob. Very, very, very optimistic, but in a way, it is kind of annoying in a way. It's kind of like it came out from the universe of the Big Bang Theory in a way. But I tried to tolerate him for a while, but let's say that when the first trap proved deadly, he was kind of like the guy who's like, oh man, that was awesome, that was great, dude. You were almost cooked alive, and you think that is awesome. I don't know, but I don't think that you have the gut of being Monkey D. Luffy, because at least with Monkey D. Luffy, when he's in danger, he knows he knows that he's in danger, and when he exclaims that, yeah, that is fun, it's because at least he knows that he's in danger, and he just goes for the thrill. This guy kind of doesn't earn it. But I'll say this, he's the first one to go. It is not every day when you get that the comic relief is the first victim. I'll leave it a little bit like that. But basically all the escape rooms, they kind of become deadly. They're deadly, and For example, they start out with the. I'll talk to you about the rooms. The first room that they start in, they're locked inside in this kind of like a lobby, and the more they find the puzzle, the heat begins to rise, and to the point that to the boiling point, and now they have to find an exit before they get out. And yeah, they have the puzzles, the riddles everywhere. They have in this one, there's a contraption that they have to deal with. They have to use water to put weight on 6 buttons and all this stuff. Then they go to a room that is really snowy. It's kind of like going to an outside. At first I was kind of confused. I thought that they really went to an alien world, but no, it looks kind of fakeish, especially since there is they find an invisible wall on that ice area. Then they go to probably the most elaborate of all the rooms, which is this. Imagine a bar that you go to. The trucks. There is the pool. There's a pool, the drinks, and all this stuff. But imagine that room, but upside down. And they have to solve the puzzle on a timer because the floor is the floor is falling in like 20 feet from down. And then there's the fourth room, which it imitates a hospital, let's say a hospital room where they keep the patients. Very rusty, very dinky. This is when the character realized that what they had in common is that they're all victims of something that they were not supposed to have survived. Like, for example, our character Zoe, she survived a plane crash. Ben, the pessimistic guy, he was drunk driving where his friends died. Then the CEO guy, he was boating with a friend, but he was the lone survivor when he had to fight for survival. I'll get to that in a while. To go a little, the old guy, the trucker, he survived. He survived being caved in a mine, which is really scary. And it kind of reminded me on the workers that were trapped in Chile. I was thinking it was in Chile. Yeah, that scene. I'll leave it to that. The headstrong veteran. She survived an explosion on the battlefield. And the comic relief gamer, well, they didn't say much. He survived carbon dioxide poisoning. First of all, I gotta say that I gotta apologize if I'm kind of spoiling the movie in a while, but I think that there is one thing that I do have to mention. That I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Let me put it in this perspective. At first, the movie seems that it has a kind of like an interesting pace. I mean, it started out strong. We started out with someone being trapped on a room that is closing. Then we get to meet the characters, and sorry, is that. How can I explain this? Without without sounding a little bit too picky on it. We meet the characters, and if you pay attention to the movie, you're gonna notice that the same guy, the Ben guy, he's the same guy that was on the intro of the movie, and I was like. And it took me a while to figure out, hey, it's that same guy. I'm not very good at recognizing people's faces, so sorry about that. But then we come up a little bit with the climax where technically 3 of them died, 1 was left behind, and then the character Ben and Jason, they kind of finally realized the dark side of the CEO guy. That CEO guy was named Jason. And they go to the fifth room, which technically is them getting poisoned, getting poisoned by a liquid when they open the hatch. But the doors, and they're in a room that has black and white stripes, kind of like a very, very zebra-like room that is with a big screen. And they tell them that they can release the room, but if you want to leave the room, you have to cure yourself from the poison. There's an antidote on the premise, but there's only one antidote, and they fight to the death. And Ben survives, and yeah, he goes to the exact room from the intro, which is almost like a different version, kind of like a more sneaky version of the 3 weeks, the 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. God, this movie kind of. This movie did manage to avoid having my head having. Okay, I'll put it in a correct word. This movie almost managed to avoid having me imagine Morty just screaming, "You like that? Would you like to come back three weeks earlier when you died?" Oh no, they kind of make the sneaky. I mean, if they will go that far, why bother with the intro? Why bother? Why bother with that? I mean, you could have cut the intro and then put it over there. It's like, again, I'm gonna again said what Morty said on that Rick and Morty episode, that sometimes why start the movie why start the movie on the best part? Just put it on the flow. But you know what? This thing is little compared to the insanity that happens later. And you know what? You have to know this. You have to know it, because what the freak happened? Here's what happened. In the end, this guy who was in the intro, and then we later seen, he survives. He survives the ordeal and managed to get to the final room where he's greeted by another guy. He just shows up, and apparently he says that they are an organization that, yeah, they just are rich psychopaths who look for people so they can kill them for their amusement. And yeah, he doesn't want him to give him the money, and he tries to kill him. But of course, our character Zoe, who pretended to be dead in one of the rooms, because how the hell did because well, she managed to thwart the others by breaking the cameras on the carbon dioxide room. And she managed to go through with a breathing mask to survive the poison. Then she beats the guys who were going to pick the corpses. She gets the gun, and she managed to go to the winner's room where she saves the Ben guy to kill that guy, a villain that comes out of nowhere. And they escape. Oh, continuing on. It gets better. Then, while Ben is recovering, Zoe tells the police about what happened. They go there, and everything is empty. Nothing is there. And she's like, oh no. And apparently she kind of, there was a book saying the name of a guy, and the guy's name is kind of like an anagram of "There's no way out" or something like that. And she's like, no. So I wanted the movie to end because I wish the movie could have said that maybe it was in their heads or something like that, because they say that they had kind of hinted that the guy was on drugs and something like that. yeah, the band guy was on drugs. But no, it doesn't end there. 6 months later, she reunites with Ben again, who apparently he moved from the grocery store to now looking at like a more hunky guy apparently with a better job. So apparently he did manage to win the $10,000 apparently, and Zoe, she begins to say that, yeah, you know, there's this organization, their organization, this escape room, that they cover up the deaths of these people, and they're there. So you wanna go in? No, yeah, why not? Not. So all right, let's get the plane ticket, and then we cut to the a plane on fire. A plane on fire, almost like if it was hijacked by Eric Cartman. At that movie, if the movie could have ended there, it was like, oh, let's go. I'm sorry. I know that I might sound mean-spirited at this point, so sorry for everyone who... I'm not gonna complete that. But that's not all. I haven't finished because later the whole plane was falling with their wings with the turbines on fire. They're making an escape room inside a plane. Everyone's panicking. They solve the riddles, and they're almost going to crash on the mountain. And guess what? It was all a simulation. A simulation of that organization who were doing test drives for escape rooms, those deadly escape rooms. And they were like, good, we need to tweak it a little bit here and there. You did a good job. And yeah, there were this organization with apparently, I don't know, it's a criminal underground organization, kind of like a hostile group. And they kind of realized that the two survivors are going after them, and they talk to apparently, I don't know, Dr. Claw, who on a screen is this guy in a shadow. Who, again, he looks like, he kind of reminds me between that Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget, and he's like, okay, we're gonna keep on with our activities, and you guys are gonna stop these two, or everything will be ruined. Or I don't know. And then the movie ends. And I was like, what the frick was that? What the frick was that? It's almost like I'm getting convinced that this movie tried too hard to become Saw. Or you know what? I put it this way. I think that this is a Shyamalan twist. Here's our M. Night Shyamalan twist. Maybe they're in the same universe of Saw, of Jigsaw, and apparently Jigsaw, whoever is now doing the Jigsaw's deeds, he finally built an underground business where they're gonna pick up any of those people and put them, let's say, we're gonna play a game. How did it manage to get into that? You know, as bland and not so man movie that they're for this year, I can't. What did we thinking? I mean, it jumped from one place, from one genre that felt like Cube to being confident that they're gonna go with more sequels. And I was like, no movie, no. You didn't earn it. You didn't earn your sequel. It's not like Cube again because Cube is technically a wonderful movie. I mean, a group of people who they're trapped in this giant cube, and at least the benefit of Cube is that a lot of the stuff, even though like the mastermind behind it and all this stuff, it was left ambiguous. And for people who doesn't seen it, I highly recommend you to watch Cube. Escape Room, not so much. If I have to say another bad thing about this movie is that the deaths are not exactly very gory, I must admit. I mean, they try to go through this PG-13 route. In a way, it's not bad. I'm not gonna say that they're not bad to make death less violent. But in a way, if you make a violent death, it increases the risk factor of the character. It put them with higher stakes. Well, I kind of also like that the movie also tries to give out some character into all the characters that are involved in. It makes us kind of care and see that there is a little bit of well, character development on the characters. And even if the CEO guy almost kind of becomes like a secondary bad guy, I gotta give him credit that he wasn't technically a bad guy. He was mostly a guy who was technically in a very, very gray area, let's say. That is until, again, we get to that freaking ending. We're gonna have to... If this movie, well, it kind of deserves to be talked about that ending that comes out of nowhere. It was weird to see something like that. And yes, I spoiled it to you because I had to tell you about it. I needed to talk about it. And you know what? I think that I gotta end this by saying that it's a rental. This movie is technically a rental. Although a sequel, I wouldn't get my hopes up considering that it's just January. And technically, that's what I can say about Escape Room. Still, this movie, I gotta say that you're not gonna escape from that expectation, from that ending.